In the neighborhoods as we occupy everywhere. Millions of Americans worked hard to buy a home, but Wall Street crashed the economy, deliberately profiting from predatory loans they knew families could not repay, and put tens of millions out of work. Now they're putting families on the street, even through illegal foreclosures. And they're trying to collect mortgage payments based on home values before the crash they caused instead of current values. At least 1 out of 4 homes are underwater across the country. And in Atlanta, it's much worse. In Georgia, almost 1 out of 2 homes are underwater. Folks are literally having their homes snatched out from underneath of them. We became aware of Brigitte Walkers' story this week, and one of the worst we heard. Brigitte, a hard-working American that bought a house years ago, and she's been in the military since 1985, a decorated Iraq war veteran, was a staff sergeant, and was injured. As a result of the injury, has been on a fixed income. And Georgia number 50 for loan adjustments. And she'd been working like many other folks around the city to try to get an adjustment on that mortgage. And the Chase Bank been unwilling to do that. And so Occupy Atlanta stands with her today, and we recognize that her struggle is symbolic of thousands of other people that are struggling all over Georgia. So this is not just about one person, but we're here to save this house, to stand in solidarity. And the Occupy movement has always stood with veterans, and we have many veterans in our leadership. So we have a couple of veterans, Iraq war vets, that stand today on either side of Brigitte. I want to introduce Brigitte and like for her to say a few things about the house and about her story.
Yes, I've served almost 21 years in the military. To come home and be medically retired due to my injuries was upsetting because I took pride in serving. That drastically reduced my income, so I wasn't able to maintain as I was before. As I was facing my hardship, I've been in contact with Chase since the very beginning, and for some reason they just won't help me. They keep saying this income is not enough, or your expenses are too much, and the time frame that's passing between me requesting assistance is getting greater and greater. So for anybody to lose a home, it is a travesty, but especially a veteran, someone like myself who proudly made that sacrifice, I just feel like it's a slap in the face, and it's time for change. It's time for change.
How do you feel about having the Occupy folks here?
It's awesome. It makes me feel good. It gives me a sense of hope. And I'm proud that they're willing to support me and take on a cause like this. I'm really grateful for you guys. Thank you for your time and your energy and your efforts.
Do you think it'll make a difference having them?
Yes, I do. I do. Even though I think it's power in action. It's power in action, and their actions are very powerful. And it's going to take notice, and it's going to catch people's eyes and attention. It's a lot more people that are in these situations that don't know where to turn. But like myself, in watching them, Sis Hill, I believe that was her name, it gave me an opportunity to say, you know what, they can help me as well. And so that's how I contacted them.
How close are you to the bank actually coming in and taking over?
They gave me a date of January the 3rd, 2012.
That is close.
Yes,
it's too close for comfort here.
Yes, it is.
So we have other Iraq war veterans that are standing here with Brigitte Walker, and I wonder if Hector or Oliver, want to say anything.
I was just going to say it's a travesty that this country gives the disabled veterans in this day and age the chance to refinance their mortgages when somebody gets injured and they get medically discharged. It is uncontrollable for the soldier that gets discharged when that's going to happen and how much retirement pay that soldier will receive, and that destroys their line of credit when something like with Brigitte happens, that they have a house that they had a fixed income that they suddenly cannot pay anymore, and it's not just Chase Bank, it's also shame on the VA for not providing that help to her to continue paying that mortgage, even if it means extending her credit with an extra loan that gets paid off afterwards, or something, a similar program. It doesn't exist where it clearly should.
I think one of the big things with Bridget is she served 21 years. That's 21 years of her time and a little bit of her health that she gave up for this country. And banks fail to realize, you know, with the bailouts, what the government did for them. And it doesn't seem right that we can take from, you know, the individual here and, you know, give to the banks after they've had their day, they've had their bailout. And it's time for our people to get what they need. And as veterans, we stand together, as always. There's no such thing as a, you know, well, we're all proud veterans. You know, there's nothing that we didn't do over there that, you know, we can really question. We know we served our country, and, you know, we did what we had to do. And we come home and we're faced with situations like this. So it's hard to get out of that mentality sometimes, and you know, try and ask for help. A lot of us, you know, we're very proud, and we don't usually ask for handouts. And you know, this is one of those times when, you know, this isn't a handout. This is assistance that is needed on a very dire scale.
Right, because it makes you feel forgotten. Say I serve my country proudly, and I need service now. I'm not asking for a handout. I'm just asking for some help.
And one of the things that I wanted to do was, first of all, thank Miss Walker for her sacrifice and her courage. I want to, as well as these other veterans, we want to thank her for thinking it not robbery to stand up for us. And that's why we're here standing with her. Because she stood for us, she stood up for us in places like Bosnia and Iraq. When we were here in the homeland, relatively safe, she thought it not robbery to put her life on the line. And that's why at this point, we're out here for her. And it is the shame of America that this woman and her family are on the cusp of homelessness. The very idea that a homeless, the word homeless and veteran would be in the same sentence. It's a shame of America, but we plan by being here with this family, being with this person, to make sure that Chase Bank, and we just need to call it out. We don't need to hold it back. For some reason, we've been running into Chase a lot these last 2 weeks. Put a 103-year-old woman out on the street. Put a family of a deceased woman out on the street, and then going to threaten this woman with putting her family on the street. We won't accept it. It's unacceptable. I don't think that Atlanta and America is going to allow someone who stood up for America to be put out. So we're glad to be here, but we're not here for a night, the minute or the moment. We're here for the long haul, and we appreciate you so much for what you've done for so many of us. We can't repay you for your sacrifice. There's no way we can, but at least we can show you that what you did is appreciated in this country. So thank you, and God bless you for doing what you've done and what you will do.
You say you're here for the long haul. How long is that?
Well, we're just going to send a message of Chase. That if they send anybody here to touch a piece of this furniture or to ask this family to leave, that we will be here with this family. Just the idea that she's going to have to face marshals and sheriffs to put her out on the street when she went halfway around the world and put herself in harm's way, and they're going to send some sheriffs and marshals here to put her out. I'm not going to tell you what will happen because that's not how we do things. But I will say this, that Chase Bank, you know, is not going to put this woman out on the street. It's not going to happen, you know.
I understand that you're also instrumental in helping to choose the family where over in Glen Iris.
Well,
the other home.
One of the things that has happened over the last 10 or 11 years since I've been doing predatory lending, foreclosure, eviction issues, I get calls. You know, I'll be honest with you, I get overwhelmed with calls, 2 or 3 calls a week. And they've increased in the last few weeks because of what Occupy Atlanta's been doing, because of what people see on your station, other station. So, and I feel it's my responsibility to try to get them all the help that I can.
Sure.
Not just, you know, Occupy Atlanta, but legal help and other technical kind of help. So yes, Ms. Walker wrote a brilliant email to me. You know, I think I teared up when I read it. And I said, Tim Franzen and OA, Occupy Atlanta, this is something we've got to get with. And so we met with Ms. Walker. You know, we were impressed. I'll, you know, just remember reading her, some of her military records and all the commendations that she got for this country. And I think, Tim, you read it, and you were, he was impressed as I was. So that's kind of how we came to get together.
I just wanted, I'm Joe Beasley, and I'm a retired military person. I spent 21 years in another war in Vietnam. And as you know, the Dean of the Civil Rights Movement, Dr. Joseph Lowry, today called for a moratorium, 6 to 9 months moratorium, that there will be no foreclosures. And we're hoping that America will be listening to Dr. Lowry. So we'll be on call. So if we start moving this way, at 75, it's pretty hard for me to sleep in one of these things. It don't take long. I got this little BlackBerry, and we'll be right down here. So hang on, Mr. Walker. And but to be injured in a war, it's just it's unthinkable. And as I said to Senator Ford, I'm going to petition Chase Bank, I guess through my position as the Southern Director for the Rainbow Push Coalition. I had a brief talk with the International Director for the Rainbow Push Coalition, who would get me in touch with Reverend Jackson. And I hope he would join Dr. Lowry in calling for this national